Well, today is a good day today. Hello, all my Tiger Streaks out there. I'm calling for all my Tiger Streaks. Hello. Where are you guys? I gotta call you up every time I come on. It's 6 o'clock. Where are all my Tiger Streaks? There you are. Hello, all my Tiger Streaks out there. It is so good to see you. Twice in a week. That's a good thing. We saw each other Sunday and today. Ooh. Hello, everyone. Today is June 20th, Thursday, June 20th, and I'm coming to you live from Syracuse, New York. So I'm pretty close to home, but not quite yet. I have been on tour for the past week and a half or so. I started in Chicago, and then from Chicago I went to Pittsburgh, from Pittsburgh to Toronto, Canada, and now I am here in Syracuse, New York. This is my last night here, and then I'm heading on home to get ready, hopefully, for the Chicago Pro, if I am ready in time. I think it's looking good. What y'all think? Yes. So I'm getting ready for one of the 3 shows, as y'all know, that follow the bodybuilding. We got about 3 more qualifying shows to go. So we have Chicago Pro over the 4th of July weekend. And then we have the Norfolk the following week, and then Tampa in August, that first week in August. So I either will be doing all 3, or I'll be doing at least 2 of the 3, if not all 3 altogether. So we'll see how things go. I have my ducats in line to get my paperwork and stuff in order for the contracts and whatnot. So keep abreast on that. You might be able to see me on stage in a week or 2. Alrighty, so let's get started on today. Again, today is June 20th, and we are getting ready to get started on our show. So as I said before, I know that you guys were watching a few of the videos that I had posted while I was in Toronto. I wanted to make sure that you guys know that I am okay. There was a shooting there. If you were watching some of the clips that I did put up, there was a shooting out there. 2 people got shot. In the midst of 1.5 million people out there. You can never go out anywhere and just have some fun or enjoy the company and energy of people. So I'm out there in Toronto enjoying the energy of the city because, the Raptors were celebrating their win. And in the process of the celebration in the hotel that I was staying in, someone ran through the lobby and was like, somebody just got shot. And so, when that happens, all kind of mayhem breaks loose. But I said all of that to say this is because in that moment, you really find out who you are as a person. And I think that if you may have doubts about yourself in what you would do in a situation like that, or how you would carry yourself, or will you be that person that will step up and try to help others, or will you be, all about yourself and just trying to save yourself? And in that moment, I found out the type of person that I was, and walked away from the situation, although terrified, because you know that these shootings are starting to happen almost every week now. When you turn on the news, it's like, another 20 people got shot or whatever have you. And so it's just a matter of, when you think about the situation, it's almost a matter of, okay, it's not if, but a matter of when I'm going to find myself in a situation like that. And if I do, what am I going to do when I find myself in that situation? And so in Toronto, when everybody was running around, I swear, it was just like stuff you see on TV. It was so frightening. The stores that were inside the hotel, they were closing their doors. People were running under tables and chairs. And initially I was in the Starbucks store, and there was this little girl that was sitting there. She was like petrified. And in that moment, I found out the person that I was as a person. And I was like, wow, I'm down there and I'm trying to help the girl out. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I'm trying to protect her and, trying to make sure that, she's good. Not just worried about myself. But in that moment, or even after the moment when I really had time to really think about the whole situation as a whole, I have to say that I was proud of myself. That I walked away from that situation not only thinking about myself and my survival, but that I took the time out to think about someone else as well and making sure that they were okay. And it made me feel like, wow, that's pretty deep, because you can really find out who you really are in a tough situation. You really find out what type of character you are, what you're made of. And at that moment, I felt like, wow, you know, you may not know what you would do in a situation, but I find that now I definitely know what I would do. I wouldn't be one of those people that would just run away from the situation, but I'm going to make sure that the people that are around me are good as well as myself. Anyway, I tie all of that into today's topic of being your worst enemy, and the voice in your head that tells you you can't do it, or you're not worthy, or you know, you don't measure up. How many of you guys have had that voice in your head? Because I know that I do. And people look at me and be like, but you're a vision of perfection. Not really. You know, we all, I think that even the biggest stars that we may look up to, just throwing names out there, like say Oprah Winfrey or something, we would probably feel like, oh man, you know, she has so much wisdom or something like that. But I'm almost guaranteed that even someone like her may have moments in their life that they may doubt themselves, or may have moments in their life where they may think, I'm not so sure if I can do that. How about you? Do you feel that way sometimes when you have been presented with challenges in your life, whether it be your job or whether it be some personal type of experience? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. That little voice in your head that tells you you can't do it. That little voice in your head that tells you you're not worth it. You're not worthy like these other people are. You're not at this level. That you don't deserve that. What about that little voice in your head? How can you overcome that voice in your head that creates a stumbling block from you reaching your fullest potential as you are as a person? So let's talk about it. I know I'm interested to hear what you got to say. How about that? So last week, I always go over a recap of last week. Last week, we talked about the power of visualization. Before we get into this week's topic, for those that were able to join last Sunday, we talked about the power of visualization. If you can think it, you can be it. And if you can think it, you can do it through the power of visualization. If you did miss last Sunday's episode because it was a redo of a show that we couldn't do the following Thursday before, you will be able to catch that episode if you missed it on YouTube. I'll be posting it on YouTube later on today after this show. And so if you've missed previous episodes of In the Cage with the Tigress, you can always catch the after show, or the episode after it has aired on YouTube if you missed it. So let's get started on today's topic. I always get started with the questions. I did post the questions kind of late today, so I didn't get too many responses, but that's okay. I did get a couple of responses from you guys. Let's start with the first question that deals with today's topic. What is one of the small changes I can make to this week that will help me feel in control of my life? Let me read that again. What is one small change I can make to this week that will make me feel in control of my life? And so a couple of people did answer. Jay-Z Izzo 82. He said, get a shape up on my facial hair. Laugh out loud. Barbershop. And it may seem funny, but that's one of the things that I do want to talk about too, as far as building up your self-confidence. One of the things about building up your self-confidence, of course, is your appearance. Because how you dress, how you look, it does play effect. It does play into how you feel about yourself, you know? And so, like, even things that you wear, like, I like to wear, like, outfits that make me feel good. Like, when I put this outfit on, or when I wear a pair of shorts and I got my boots on with it, there's nothing that you can tell me. I just know I look good. I don't care what anybody thinks. It's how it makes me feel. feel when I get dressed. And it doesn't matter if anyone approves or disapproves, but when I look in the mirror, it's just something how I feel about myself. So yes, how you groom yourself, how you dress, how you wear your hair, it all plays into how you feel about yourself, how confident it makes you feel. And so yes, as the saying goes, the clothes makes the person, or the clothes makes the man. I'll say the person because we got men and women. But the clothes do make the person. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel confident. There's certain clothes or certain ways that you may get dressed or whatever that makes you feel confident about yourself. So yes, I agree with that, JC, that sometimes a nice shape up, or for you girls, sometimes a new wig, or, a new hairdo, sometimes a new lipstick, or new makeup, new color on your face, maybe new nails. Sometimes it could be something as simple as that to raise your confidence. And it doesn't have to be something expensive or something out of the way, but something that is in your range that you can afford, and something that can pick your spirits up. And you're going to take baby steps in doing that, because everybody is not born with confidence. Confidence is something that is a skill that you build up over time, I believe, through the experiences that you go through. That's what builds your confidence. The experience that you go through in life helps you to build your confidence, even if those experiences that you go through are sometimes what you might consider to be a failure. And we'll get into that in a bit. Let's go to the second question. The second question was, nobody answered the second question. What did you always want to do and try, but never found the courage to do? So I'll answer it for myself, since no one answered that question. What is something that I always wanted to do but never tried? Something that I always wanted to do but never tried is to do public speaking. I think that I will do well in that, but there's always been a fear of me doing something like that, and people are like, you don't have anything good to talk about. Why would we want to listen? Why would anybody want to hear anything that I have to say? And so this in the cage with the Tigress is an opportunity for me to get past that fear. And so it gives me the opportunity to get past the fear to build my confidence to a point where I feel that I can be on a stage with 10,000 people in a stadium of 10,000 or more people speaking and giving a motivational speech. It's something that I want to do, but I haven't tackled it yet. I've even thought about doing things like there's an organization called Toastmasters, where they teach you how to do public speaking. And again, it's something that I always wanted to do, but never tackled it, because I always felt like I don't really have a story really to tell that somebody would be interested in. But as I've been doing this show here, what I notice is that people are interested, and people do appreciate my story, and they have told me after the show that I have inspired them and have encouraged them. And what that does for me, it's like fuel to the fire. It makes me feel good and confident that, wow, even if it's just one person that I reach, it's so worth it, because I feel like I am being heard, and that people do want to hear what I have to say, and that makes me feel good, and it makes me feel confident in the fact that I could possibly do something like that. And so, yes, to answer those questions, let's see, Eddie Z answered the first question about what is one small change, and he said that he's battling procrastination and fear of failure. Just to get up and do it. Nothing succeeds like success, but a valiant effort runs a close second. And that's another thing that we'll touch base on quickly, is that the fear of failure, the fear just to try. And there's nothing to fear but fear itself. And so if you can able to look fear straight on and tackle it, what a feeling that is. So let's get into today's topic about that little voice in your head that tells you you're not worth it, that you don't measure up, and you're not good enough. Let's talk about that. Okay, so today's topic of the day, like I said, fighting your worst enemy, which is you. We're our worst enemy, and I say that because many times, especially with me in the bodybuilding, I always have to go back to myself and tell my story of how I started when I was 300 pounds and I was overweight. And I began to think about this journey that I wanted to go on as far as losing weight. How can I do it? It was so, the thought of losing 130 pounds was so overwhelming to me that it just seems like when you think of 130 pounds, that's a whole person. Like, how do you do that? How do you lose a whole person? You know, and it just seemed like a task or something that I didn't know how to even approach to even accomplish that goal. So you go into it almost in a negative way, like, I failed so many times before, I don't even think that I can do that. And so the voices that were like, there's no way that you can do this. And so for me, what I had to do in order to tackle that fear, in order to tackle that doubt, in order to overcome that voice in my head, was that I had to break that vision down into small parts. Because for me to look at myself in the mirror and say, wow, 130 pounds, yeah, we could do that. That wasn't the issue. That wasn't something that was feasible for me to do. But what was feasible for me to do, what I felt that I could accomplish was, let's see here, how can I break this down in a way that I can obtain my goals? Let's see here. I could do 5 pounds. I could do 2.5 pounds. So this is exactly what I did. I took a big goal that I felt that I could not achieve because the voice in my head was like, you tried this before and it didn't work. You fell off the wagon and you put 30 more pounds back on the last time you fell off the wagon. There's no way you could do this again because you don't have it in you. You're not strong enough. There's no way that you can go from A to Z and actually finish this journey. And so I said, you know what? I can do this if I do it small increments at a time. So at 300 pounds, I'm like, okay, we're going to take this 5 pounds at a time. And that's exactly what I did, 5 pounds at a time. And I see you guys writing stuff. I'll give a few minutes before the end of the show to answer those questions that you are writing. And so I took it 5 pounds at a time. That was something that I felt that I could accomplish. And I say that because as I want you to begin to set goals for yourself, I want you to, of course, look at the big picture. But as you look at this big picture of whatever goal it is that you're setting for yourself, whether it be to go back to school, whether it be to lose weight, whatever the goal is for yourself, I want you to take it in small increments in a way that you feel that you could be successful, because it's in those small steps that you take and that you are successful that it creates enough confidence for you to look at the big picture and say, hey, I can do this. And so in my small increments of 5 pounds at a time, before I knew it, I turned around and I was like, oh, I lost 50 pounds. And then another 2 or 3 months went by and I looked back and I said, oh, I lost 80 pounds. Before I knew it, I was like, oh, I'm finally under 200. But it was 5 pounds at a time. But it was giving me so much confidence that I was actually doing this, that I was like, wait a minute. Not only can I lose this weight, but I think I can transform my whole body. Not just lose the weight, but transform my body, because just accomplishing the little goals that I set for myself allowed me to have confidence in myself that I could take on the big picture. And the big picture was always to transform the total body. But at the time when you're starting off on a goal, you don't always quite see how you're going to get to the end point. And so you do it baby steps at a time. And so, let's see here. I hope I got all my stuff in order. All right, so let's see. Alrighty, so we're gonna start with we're going to start on our topic, and we're going to start with, again, dealing with that small voice in your head. And so one of the things that you want to start doing when you're dealing with yourself, when you're dealing with negativity, when you're dealing with doubt, when you're dealing with these things that make you feel that you don't measure up, that you can't do, what you want to do is those thoughts, like your brain, think of your brain as the garden. Think of it as a garden, a flourishing garden with fruits and vegetables and all the good things that you want in a garden. But just like any garden, you got weeds. And if you don't take care of the weeds, what happens? What happens if you don't take care of the weeds in a garden? The weeds will begin to overtake the garden, choke out everything that's good, and kill it. And it's the same thing with those negative thoughts. When you let one negative thought get in your head and you don't take care of it, you don't squash it, it grows. And it attaches itself to everything that's good and makes it bad. It's just like a cancer. These negative thoughts are just like cancer. And if you don't get the radiation and you don't get the treatment when you find out that you have cancer, or you got cancer cells, if you don't take care of that immediately, it will spread. And it will damage everything that it touches. And what I'm saying is there's these thoughts in your head that causes you to think that you're not worthy, that you don't measure up. These things will spread. And when they spread like cancer, it affects everything that you do, everything that you touch. It's just going to be negative, because you're going to feel, like I told you last week, your body follows your body follows your head. So wherever your head is at, your body's going to follow, meaning that the actions are going to follow the thoughts that are in your head. So if you think that you're not worthy, if you think that you don't measure up, then your actions are going to reflect that. It's going to reflect that. And so you don't want to do that. When you have these negative thoughts, you want to tackle them as soon as they enter into your head. You're not worthy. Oh, yes, I am. Even if it's just a worthiness of saying, okay, let me find what I feel that I can offer people that makes me worthy. What is it? Because everyone has something to bring to the table. Everyone is worthy and has some type of value to bring to the table. I always use myself as an example. When I feel like I don't measure up, or I feel like I'm lacking in an area, I try to focus on those things that I do have and that I feel that I can offer. Like something just as simple as making somebody laugh. People say, you're so funny. And I have to use that and say, you know what? But there is some value to me, because you know what? I can make somebody laugh when they're not feeling good. And that's a good feeling. It may be something small like that, but you appreciate the things that you can do instead of focusing on the things that you can't do or that you haven't mastered yet. And so until you do, you focus on those small things. You know, I have a gift of inspiring people. And I don't even realize sometimes that I'm doing it, but I can't tell you how many times people have come to me and said, wow, your story is so inspiring. I can't tell you how many people have come to me and said, wow. I can't tell you that after I heard your story, it motivated me to action. So you have to take those things in which you feel that you are positive and good at it and focus on that. Because it's those feedbacks that you get when somebody tells you things like that that gives you confidence that you can take on bigger things. So the first thing that we want to do is when those negative thoughts begin to come into your head, just like a weed, you're going to just weed it out. Just like cancer, you're going to go ahead and get that radiation and get it all out of, get it all out of the head, because like I said, everything that cancer touches is going to affect it. And you don't want that to happen, because you stunt your own potential. And we all have potential. We all have something to bring to the table. We all have something that we can bring to the table and learn from each other. And that's the important things of learning what your value and what your worth is because we all have it, whether you realize it or not. And that's the whole point of conversation, is so that you can realize, no one in this world is perfect. But we all have something to bring to the table. And we all can learn from each other. And our imperfections, we can all strive to perfect ourselves and live at our higher selves, right? And so we're going to work on turning those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. That's how we weed it out. That's how we use the radiation to get the cancer out. Every time you get a bad thought and say, well, you know what? I don't measure up. Or I don't think that I can do this. Instead of saying that you can't do this, because I come across people that say that all the time to me every day. They look at my physique and say, wow, you have a beautiful physique. There's no way I could do something like that. But instead of saying something like that, you're going to take that negative thought and flip it right immediately. And say, you know what? I may not be able to do what you do right now, but what I am going to do is I'm going to do my best. And I'm going to try hard. And, you know what I'm saying, until you hit that point, until you hit that goal. And just like Eddie Z said, you know, the fear of trying is what stops a lot of people. They don't even freaking try because they're fearful of failing. But you know, some of the biggest, most successful people in this world, like Bill Gates and who's the Zuckerman guy that does the Facebook, some of these people and some other big names too have failed hundreds of times before they made it to where they were where they are now. You think that they just woke up one morning and be like, yeah, you know, here I am successful. I bet you they failed 100 times before they made it to where they are right now. But it's through the failure that you learn. So you can't be afraid to fail, because it's through failure that you actually learn who you are as a person, what you're able to do, what you're not able to do, and then those things that you're not able to accomplish through the failure, you can learn, when I did it this way, it didn't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it up a little bit and try it again. And the most important thing I want you to walk away from is that failure, you should embrace that. Because, again, it teaches you who you are as a person. It teaches you where you need to come up in. It teaches you what you already have that's valuable that you need to nourish more and bring it up. But we shouldn't be afraid of failure. And most importantly, you should never allow failure or something that you did and you did not succeed at that you may consider to be a failure. You should never let that define you as a person. Because that doesn't define you as a person just because you tried something once or twice and you didn't succeed. That doesn't make you a failure. It just means that you're a courageous person that's willing to try again until you get it right. And it takes courage for somebody to try things. It takes courage from somebody to say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I'm going to try and do it anyway because, you know, I think I can. I think I can. Just like the little train. I think I can. I think I can. I know I can. I know I can. I did. And that's how it works. Little baby steps first. And then you begin to appreciate the small things that you're doing. And like I said, those small things build up to big accomplishments. But sometimes it's not always on the first try. Sometimes it's not on the second try. Third, fourth, fifth try. Sometimes you have to try things 10, 20, 30 times before it works. But the important thing is not how many times you fall. It's how you get up. That's what's important. Because we are all going to fall short on things in our life. But the important thing is not to listen to that voice in your head that says, oh, but you tried it 10 times already. Forget it. You're nothing but a failure. Because if you were a successful person or you was good at anything, you would have succeeded the first time. That's not true. You have to give yourself credit for the things that you are able to do for the simple fact that you freaking tried, which is more than the person that's sitting there and wallowing in their self-pity, sitting there saying, well, I tried it once and I ain't going to do it again because I failed at it one time. That's the failure right there. But the person that says, you know what, I fell down, but let me see what I can learn from that. Let me see. I didn't like the way that went. I didn't like how I did that. But I did like that. That part of it did work out. So let me take that part that worked and let me try to change the parts that didn't work. Let me try to change that up a little bit. And then let me try again. And then you try again and it may not work, but it might. And if it doesn't work, then you take the things that, again, worked for you and you eliminate the things that didn't. But the most important thing is not to fall victim to that voice in your head that tells you that you can't do it. That don't fall victim to the voice in your head that says, you know what, you ain't worthy. You're not as good as these other people. Or like in my case, as far as bodybuilding, I can get on stage and say, well, I'm not as good as these other girls. Maybe my calves don't look like hers, or maybe my abs don't look like hers, or my thighs don't look like hers. But does that make me any less of a person? No. What you need to do is not focus on other people. You got to focus on yourself, because you're the only one that can control you. You're the only one that can control, the direction in which you're going in, and your success and your failure. And like I said, when you fall, it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It doesn't mean that at all. And that's important that you remember that failure does not define who you are as a person. Simple as that. So, let's move on. ID your talents. I think we talked about that already. IDing your talents. Find the things that you are good at. Don't focus so much on things that you can't do or things that you haven't mastered yet. Like for me, I like to think back on the time when the people that I'm working with, Funfair Films, they wanted me to do, the director wanted me to do a karaoke. He wanted me to sing The Eye of the Tiger, that old song from back in the day, Eye of the Tiger. So he had one of his friends, Sil, she's a voice coach. And so we worked for weeks getting ready for this karaoke, right? And people say, oh, well, you should be used to being on stage. Yes, I'm used to being on stage from doing the bodybuilding and stuff, right? I'm used to being on stage and posing, and because I'm good at that. Boom, I'm real good at that, but I'm not good at singing. And so I am nervous as hell this night, right? So we're in Germany. We go, mind you, we have been practicing for at least, I want to say 4 weeks or so. We've been practicing like 2-3 times a week. We've been practicing voice coach, la 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 la, woo 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 woo, all of that stuff, right? So karaoke night comes. I'm petrified because I'm like, nobody wants to do anything that they're not good at. You know what I mean? Especially in front of people. Nobody wants to do anything that they're not good at. But let me tell you something. What a boost in confidence it was for me. Because when I got up there, everything that she had taught me just went out the window. It just went out the window. I got up there. Mike was about 10 feet away from me. Because I didn't realize when you sing, you have to have the mic like really close. I didn't know. So this is my first time with the mic. And so I'm way out here, and it's causing me to have to scream more than I should have. So the notes that I have been holding in practice, she was like, oh, you're getting so good week after week, totally went out the window. I sound like total crap on the stage out there. But the confidence that I had, you would have thought that I was the next best thing since Whitney Houston. I'm telling you. Because I got up there, and even though my voice sounded like crap because I was screaming too loud, so the notes, I kept missing, and it just sounded horrible, like I was trying to scream the song out. But the confidence that I had on the stage, what happened after I got off the stage of doing this karaoke, people got up and they gave me a standing ovation. And people were like, oh my God, I loved your performance. And what that did for me, even though I felt initially like, oh my God, I totally bombed. But when people did that after the show and I was looking around, I was like, are they giving me like a standing ovation? Like for real? That was such a boost on my confidence, because it showed me that you can look fear in the face and tackle it, even if it's something that you don't think that you're good at. It's all in how you go, the confidence that you have going into it, knowing that, you know what, I'm going to do, even though I don't think that I'm good at this, I'm going to give it the best that I can. And that's all you can ever hope or ask for yourself, is for you to do the best that you can and learn from that. And there's nothing wrong with just giving it your best. And that's all that we have. Anyhow, is just give it our best. That's all we have. And so that's what I did. And people saw that effort. They saw the confidence. And I think that's what they were like, wow, for somebody to be able to get up there and sing like they're the best thing since whatever singer and just rock the stage. I was up there like, Eye of the Tiger. Yeah, I was all like, yeah. And so people were just like, wow, yeah. But it was such a confident booster for me because, again, I felt like I looked fear in the face, and I said, I don't think I can sing, but you know what? I'm going to give it my best. And I did, and it showed in the confidence, and people wasn't clapping because I was the best singer, but I think they were clapping because they saw the confidence in me, and they liked that. And so you could do the same thing in your life. It may be something that you don't think that you can accomplish, but the thing is, give it your best shot. Give it your best you. Because for you not to do it is you're not even living your life. You're not even living your full potential. You never know what could happen if you don't try. You'll never know. You'll never know. If you let fear and the voice in your head tell you, you can't do this. There's no way. You can't go back to school. I thought that for myself when I went back to school as an adult. I went back to school as an adult, and I thought that I would be like I did in high school and be a mediocre student, and here I am, dean, on the dean's list, straight A's. You know what I mean? And so, you don't know what you're capable of unless you first try. So, let's move on to the next before we run out of time, because you know how much I like to talk. Dealing with emotions. Be comfortable with your fear. Like I said, don't be afraid to fail. There's nothing wrong with failure. Look it up, man. I'm telling you, some of the biggest billionaires in the world, they will tell you themselves how many times they have fell short and they have fallen and they have had to try over and over and over again. But the thing is that they wasn't afraid to try over. They wasn't afraid that when they fell down the first time, they didn't just throw their hands up and say, oh, forget it. Because we might not have Microsoft right now if that happened, right? And so, just things like that, just not being afraid, just embracing it. And I think that we are in a society where we feel that everything has to be perfect. When you go to social media, that's all you see. When you scroll, everybody's perfection. Everyone is perfect. All the selfies are just right. And everyone has the perfect family and the perfect children. And it seems like, oh, well, I have to live up to this standard of what's on social media. But no one ever wants to say, you know what, excuse my language, I fucked up today. I fell short. Nobody ever wants to, lay out their insecurities in life. Like, you know what, I don't feel so confident, about this. Here's a challenge in my life that I don't quite know if I can tackle. Nobody wants to put that up, so we all walk through life like we have to be perfect, and we're all afraid to take a step and actually fail or stumble. But my thing, again, is to remind you is that don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid if you don't get up from that failure. That's what you need to be afraid of. If you don't get up, that's where you fall short, and then you cut yourself. You cut yourself off at the knees when you don't give yourself a chance to be your best you. So don't be afraid to fail. Confront your fears, like I did when I did the karaoke. That was unbelievable, fearful. But I tell you what, since that time in Germany that I did that, I've done karaoke a couple of more times since then in New York. And again, like I'm not no perfect singer, but again, it's the confidence. And once you overcome one fear, once you do it, it's done. You don't have to fear that anymore. And what you realize is that guess what I realized when you do fail? Guess what? The world doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop spinning because, ooh, I failed at this. It doesn't stop, and that's a good thing. You know what I mean? That you don't have to worry about this. So confront your fears and embrace them and learn from them, because that's what they're there for. They'll teach you who you are as a person, your strengths, your weaknesses, and that's how you correct yourself. When I go to acting school in New York, what made me feel so comfortable day one in the class was when we all came into the class, the teacher said, look, I want you to get up and I want you to make mistakes. Because that's the only way that you can learn. That's the only way that you can find. If you were a perfect actor, you wouldn't need to be here. But you're here because you want to learn how to act. And so in order to do that, you have to make mistakes. And it's the same thing in life. In order for you to move forward, in order for you to progress in life, sometimes you have to make mistakes so that you can see what you want to do, what you don't want to do, what makes you strong, what makes you weak, what you don't like, what you do like. You won't know if you don't try. So don't be afraid to confront your fears. Don't be afraid to embrace your fears, because it's how you learn who you are as a person. And be patient with yourself. Because you know what? Again, you may try once, you may try 2 times, you may try 50 times. And it's on the 51st time that you got it right. So you have to have patience with yourself, because sometimes it takes time. Everybody learns and everybody grows at their different levels. And so be patient with yourself and don't beat yourself up because you didn't get it the first time. You know what I mean? Or you didn't get it the second time. You know what I mean? You don't beat yourself up. Me in the bodybuilding, I could beat myself up as a pro. I have not won one show as a pro yet. As an amateur, I won a lot of shows. But as a pro, I haven't won one show yet. Do I now feel like I'm not a pro because I didn't win any shows? Do I feel any less worthy to be on stage like these other girls because I haven't won a show yet? No. What it means is that, okay, first it builds my character to say, you're going to keep trying until you reach the goal that you set for yourself. I set for myself that I was going to win at least one show while I was a pro. I haven't won it yet, but that doesn't mean that I gave up or have given up. I'm going to keep training. I'm going to keep going hard until I reach the goal that I set for myself, and not listen to that voice that said, you know what, why you didn't win? Because you don't measure up like these other girls do. You got to kill that negative thought as soon as it enters your head. Replace it with a positive thought. And so my positive thought when I do these shows is like, you know what? Today when I do this show, I may not have been what they were looking for at the last show that I was at. But at this show, I'm exactly what the judges. I'm confident. Bam. And I go confident, and I don't care what the other girls look like, and I don't care what happened at the other show, because it's all in how you pick yourself up after each time that you feel that you may not have reached the level that you had intended for yourself. It's about keep trying. It's about keep getting up. It's about keep persevering, keep pushing until you get and reach the level that you want for yourself. Okay? And stop comparing yourself. Like I said, I can't compare myself to her. My abs don't look like this. My thighs are not as big as hers. My waist is not as small as this. What I have to do is I have to look in the mirror and say, you know what? What is it that you like about yourself? Well, what I like is I like my symmetry. I like my shoulders. Oh, I love my traps because no one has traps like me. And you know what? I like my back. Bam! Because they call me Ronnie Coleman Jr. in the gym. And so I take those things that are positive and I bring it to the stage. And so no, I may not look like this girl next to me or this girl next to me, but I don't want to look like them. I want to look like me. And so I want you to do the same thing. Look at the qualities that you have for yourself and stop comparing yourself to other people. Because we all have something individual to bring to the table. That's what makes us different. We celebrate our differences, not our likenesses, okay? So let's move on. We still got a little bit more time. Practice self-caring, which brings us back to JC and him saying that he's going to, groom himself and go to the barbershop. That's very important because how you look also determines how you feel sometimes about yourself. You ever felt sick or something like that, or feel kind of lowly, and then you take a shower and you get dressed and all of a sudden you feel better. You know what I mean? There is something in how you take care of yourself and you groom yourself because it's this form of loving yourself. And if you don't love yourself, you're not going to care about how you look. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to care about taking care of things about you. You know what I mean? And so grooming, how you get dressed, these are all different things, tools that you can use, little tools and little steps that you can use to help build your self-confidence. I'm not saying buy a $2,000 suit or dress, but sometimes something, a little outfit, a little pair of boots. I like this little outfit that I like to wear. Sometimes I wear it with just regular black shorts and a top, but what I like is the boots. And what it is that I think I'm fine as hell, and you can't tell me different. Because when I walk down the street, you can't tell me. Now, I know I look good, and I don't need you to tell me that. I don't need you to affirm that, because it's something that I just feel for myself, because I made myself. I think, it builds my confidence and makes me feel like, I like how I look, and it builds my self-confidence. So yes, grooming, how you get dressed, maybe you might get your nails done, maybe you might get a new color of eyeshadow or new wig or something like that, and whatever it is that makes you feel good to build your confidence, okay? So that's, practicing self-care is definitely one way that you can, a tool that you can use, something simple and inexpensive that you can build your self-confidence and feel good about yourself. Another good thing is exercising. Of course, many of us in this day and age, we look at our bodies and we're like, and a lot of people are on a health kick. But exercising is good because, one, it releases those, what do they say, endorphins. Those good, those feeling good endorphins that get released and make you feel better. So sometimes when you exercise, it helps to clear out the mind. It also helps you feel good about yourself when you've accomplished something. When I am in the gym and I push myself real hard, it makes me feel very good. Even when if I come home real sore, it makes me feel good because I feel like I've done something for myself. I feel like I've challenged myself and I've overcome that, with the workout. And then after the workout, I just feel good when I look at myself and I say, wow, look at what I did. And I had strength enough, and I had the courage enough, the endurance enough to make it through the workout. And each contest season that goes by, I go from that off-season weight to this. And it's just such a good feeling and accomplishment that I'm able to do that each year, because when I'm in that off-season weight, then those negative thoughts like, you're looking fat today, or, you can get rid of that roll here or there. So when I am able to bring my body to contest ready, wow, it's such an accomplishment for me. I feel good. And, of course, rest and sleep are very important that we underestimate as far as building self-confidence, because when you are tired, when you don't feel good, how do you feel when you have the flu? How do you feel when you have a cold? You just, every thought that enters your head is just like, when you feel sick, you just feel sick all over. And so when you get proper rest, and you get proper sleep, and your body feels good, and it feels energized, then you feel like you're actually able to tackle those things that you want to tackle. Instead of feeling like, I feel like crap today, and then you got to deal with that procrastination because you feel like crap. And the stuff that you're eating makes you feel like garbage. And so getting proper rest, eating right, exercising, these are all things that you can do to help boost your confidence, okay? And setting goals and taking risk is going to be the last portion of what we're talking about today. And set small and achievable goals. Like I said, when I got into the bodybuilding, I'm looking at when I embarked on my journey as far as wanting to lose weight. I could have looked at the picture and said, wow, 130 pounds. Or you might be wanting to go back to school for maybe a master's or something or whatever, and you might say, wow, I got to take 20 classes. You know what I mean? And so you take you take baby steps in order to reach the big picture. You take baby steps. And so if you're going back to school, you might only take 2 classes at a time, or maybe even just 1 class. You know what I mean? If you're trying to lose weight, instead of saying, wow, I got to lose a whole 100 pounds, instead of saying that, you say, you know what? I have 100 pounds to lose, but how I'm going to look at it is that I'm going to lose a small amount of weight at a time, because I know I can do the small amount of weight. Anybody can lose 2 pounds. Anybody can lose 5 pounds. You know what I mean? So each 5 pounds that I accomplished when I was losing my weight, I would look back and say, okay, 25 pounds I lost. Woo woo. I would look back a few months later and say, 40 pounds. I would look back a few more months. All right, 60. And then before I knew it, bam, I lost 130 pounds. And it was just like taking it in small increments at a time and setting small goals for yourself that you know that you can achieve, instead of setting goals that will set you up for failure or set you up to make you feel like you failed. So when you're setting goals for yourself, set goals that you can achieve, achievable goals that you can obtain. And then those small goals that you obtain will give you the confidence and the boost that you need in your self-esteem to be able to conquer bigger things and set bigger goals for yourself, because you say, oh, I was able to do that, so now I can do this. When I was able to lose the weight, then I said, oh, I think maybe I can transform my body. Because when the trainer that I was working with, he showed me that picture of Linda Mary with the red bathing suit and the white background. I was like, yeah, I like how she looks, but I don't think I could transform my body like that. Like, yeah, she looks great, but I don't think I could do that. But once I began to start losing the weight, and then the fat started to come off, and then I saw the muscle that we started to build, I was like, wow, well, if I lost 80 pounds already, maybe I can, maybe I can tackle that bigger picture of transforming my whole body, not just losing the weight, but transforming my body. Maybe I can do this. It gave me the confidence to be able to tackle a bigger goal for myself. And you could do the same thing. And embrace the unknown. Even if you don't know how it's going to turn out, embrace the unknown. Do things that are out of the box that will help to build your confidence. Like I told you about the karaoke. It's not that I'm a great singer. I can't sing for crap. I can't sing. You don't want to hear me sing, okay? But what it does for me, and I'll do it again. I can't wait to do another karaoke now. Like the first day, my heart was in my throat. Oh my God, I was so scared. But now I've tackled that. That's not a fear anymore. I can't wait to get up there, because now I enjoy just, getting up there and being confident and taking the stage like I am the next Mariah Carey or one of the big singers out there. Even though I can't hold a note, I can hold a muscle, but I can't hold a note. So embracing the unknown. Hang out with people that I'm not going to say so adventurous, but are not, that are willing to do things that help you to come more out of yourself and more out of your comfort zone. And so like that's what hanging out with the people in Germany did for me. Sometimes, the producer that's doing my documentary, he had me do things that like the karaoke that was so out of my comfort zone. But when I did it, oh my goodness. Another thing that helped me to get out of my comfort zone when we were doing the documentary, some of the filming for the documentary again was taking this wig off in public. I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. But then I did it. And I was like, oh, the world didn't stop. And nobody said anything. But it was a confidence builder for me. And it was something out of the box for me to do, and it helped to build my confidence up as a strong person. That it's not the clothes that make me, it's not the hair that makes me, anything like that. But it helps to build the person within, character, strength. That helped me to build. It helped me to build that, and helped me to quiet that voice that says, you're not worthy, or you don't look good, or you don't do this, or you don't do that. But the remarks that I got, even when I did the video for you guys and I took the wig off, the compliments that I got, oh, you look so beautiful and this and that. But it made me feel really good, because I was like, wow, all of this time that I feared doing that in front of people because I was afraid of what their response would be. And then it turned out to be something totally, opposite of what I thought. People were like, I love it. And so that was great. And so now that wraps it up for our show. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to go over some of the questions for you guys. But yeah, what I want you to walk away from this week, as far as, the enemy, you being your worst enemy. You don't have to be your worst enemy. And when those thoughts start to enter into your head and you're telling yourself, I can't do it. I'm not worthy. Remember, those thoughts are like cancer. And if in real life you had cancer, you wouldn't just let it sit. You would run to the doctor and say, doctor, get it out of me. Get it out of me. You would try to, do whatever you got to do to get the cancer out of me. Those negative thoughts are like, think of those negative thoughts like cancer. And if you don't take care of cancer, it will spread. And it'll go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 to level 4, where level 4 is basically you're on your deathbed. And that's what negative thoughts will do to you. It will choke the very life out of you. And it will choke the very potential that you have to offer the world. The world can't even see what what you have to offer, because you allow fear and the voice in your head to shut all of that down. And I want you to challenge yourself. And even this week, just take one small thing that you may be fearful in and try to overcome that fear. That's what I want you to do today. Starting this week, try to take one thing that you're fearful of and overcome that. So I'm going to go through some of the questions very quickly and see if any of you had anything that you wanted to ask. If I overskip one of y'all, please forgive me. Only got about maybe 5 more minutes. Let's see here. Where's my glasses? Because I can't see without them. Okay, so I'm going to read a few because we only have a couple of minutes. Let's see here. What do we have? How did you handle the loose skin on your tummy after weight loss? And does the skin go back to the longer you keep it off? Or is the only option to remove? Now, for me, I did not have to have any surgery. The more contests that I did, the more condition that I got. Each year, each contest, each season that I got ready for, the skin got tighter and tighter. So where I started off as a 4-pack, I have an 8-pack now if I diet down far enough, and I don't have any loose skin once I diet down to a certain point. So I don't know, maybe the bigger you are, you may have to have surgery, but I did not have to have surgery. Let's see here. Let's see, Mesquia. I can't read some of the screen names. Masilka, I think I'm pronouncing it right. I went from 198 to 160. I wanted 150, but I see where I'm at, and I'm still not happy. So maybe I should keep going. I don't know where I am going to stop as far as number-wise. I'm going to stop when I look in the mirror and I'm happy. I agree. Don't compare yourself to anybody, but always, look at yourself, and when you're happy with what you see, then you go with that, because you're the most important person, not comparing yourself to this person or that person. Raheem, I'm good enough. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh drain it, people like me. Yes, you are good in your own right, and then when you realize that you are good enough, that's all that matters. You don't have to be this person and that person, but just realize that you are good enough. That's all that matters, and that's all you have to bring. Just bring your best to the table. Let's see what else we have. We have a couple more minutes. Let's see here. Any other questions or comments here? I'm trying to scroll through always quickly at the end of the show. Let's see here. No, I don't see any other questions. Let's see. I'm sure you have some. Oh, no, I don't see any. Well, that's okay. We did answer some of them. Let's see. And again, if I did miss you because I scrolled too fast, I do ask that you forgive me. Thanks for what you were talking about. Thank you, Sil. I love you. Yeah, I was telling them about how you tried your best to teach me how to sing. But, that first night of karaoke, how I belted it out. Oh, girl. She tried her best. She's a good teacher, so I have to say. But boy, I tell you, but it was a building confidence, building confidence for me. But anyway, we got probably 2 more minutes left. Again, I just want to make a final announcement on these shows that I'm getting ready for. We do have the Chicago Pro coming up, the July 4th weekend, and after that we have we have the North Fork and also the Tampa Pro. I am going to talk to my trainer. We had decided not to do the Chicago Pro, but I do have a little bit of funds to maybe be able to do that show. So you may see me on that stage. If not, you definitely will see me on the North Fork stage. I just want to remind all my followers and viewers, if you do want to contribute, because us girls don't have sponsors, or most of us girls don't have sponsors. I don't. I can only speak for myself. I would love to have your contributions. If you want to help, sponsor me for a hotel room or plane ticket, just hit me up on my DM. I'll show you or tell you how or where to send your contribution to. Mwah. I love you guys for joining me in the cage with the Tigress. I hope